Hello, this is the final completed picture of the small cutting garden flower bed that I've built. I'm going to show you some tools that I used and talk a little bit more about how I put this together and then filled it up for the rest of this video. All right, I'm in the middle of building my bed that will be for the flowers, and I wanted to show you a tool gadget, I'm not quite sure what you would refer to it as, that has been worth its weight in gold, and that is a Kreg jig. So what this does, you have an extra kind of large drill bit, you put it in your drill, and then you put a piece of wood here, you clamp it down, and then when you drill it, you drill through one of these guide holes, and the one that I got has these two side pieces that can help hold the piece of wood stable. So if you have a longer piece of wood, it provides some support, and so you kind of can set it on there like this. You clamp it down, your drill goes in one of the you drill right through one of these guide holes, it goes down through the wood, and then what you get is a hole that looks like this, but it actually comes out in there. So when it comes out, when okay, sorry, let me find a better spot. There. So when you can then put a screw in that kind of slanted hole that'll go through the little teeny tiny hole on the edge, and so it allows you to put boards together and kind of hide the screws. And the way I'm using this is to be able to put things together and have screws coming from both sides. Obviously not these two boards because the holes are in the same place, but they'll be kind of offset, and that'll give me, I hope, a stronger pair of boards that are being put together, and kind of hide the screws on the inside. So that is how I am putting all of these pieces together. I'll be back and show you what it looks like once I get it together. Hi guys, so here is my first bed put together. Oh my goodness, this is so the farthest thing from any kind of like a professional looking job. This is definitely kind of jankified and put together any which old way. I had some issues with, there's a bit of a slope here, and I wanted it to be, it didn't need to be perfectly level, but I didn't want there to be too much of a slope once I get this all filled up with dirt, because then when it rains, water would just flow from one end of the bed to the other. That could not be, that could wash dirt down and out and onto the ground, and I didn't want that. So I did try to get it level. You can see down there at that end, I added a few various boards and things. I added a couple 2x4s this way, and then it was still a little low, so I used a couple scrap pieces of 1x2 and another couple scrap pieces of 2x4 to get it up a little bit higher. And then at this point it was too far in to be able to get out my Kreg jig. Actually I probably could have, but sorry for the sniffles. This was the point where I was like, I just want to get this put together. So my plan is, you can see I've got a stump right here and a bed that goes around the base of a couple small trees over here. So what I'm going to do is along this edge, along this back, and between here and the stump, because I don't want to have to get out a weed whacker just for these little bitty areas, because everything else on my property I can get to with my lawnmower. That's my riding mower. I don't want to have to get out something special just for right here. I'm going to go ahead and mulch around here. I'm also probably going to put a little bit of the topsoil garden fill at this end because it's so much higher, And then along here, I think I'm going to plant some of my cut flowers, maybe some poppies or something. And that'll camouflage this, well, where I came from, we'd call it hoopty. Now I think janky is something most people would have heard of. It's definitely hodgepodge. So, mishmash, pick your phrase. But it is mostly level from front to back. It is mostly level from side to side. It's not perfect, but for my very first ever, from no kind of plan, just making it up as I went along, I don't think it looks too bad. Especially, I think, once I get it mulched around and get a few plants planted along the edges, I think it's going to actually look pretty nice. I'm just hoping that I've got it in a place that'll get enough sun for the cut flowers, because I definitely don't want to move this. If for some reason it's not, then maybe this will become a seedling nursery in the future. We'll see. After a year or two, I may decide cut flowers are just not worth all the effort. And in that case, I'll turn this into a place where I'll start seeds for maybe, other things. Anyway, so this is my cut flower garden bed. Next, I'm gonna get it all filled up with dirt, and then I do have some things that I want to plant in here, so I'll check back with you once I get it filled up with dirt and start planting out some things that I started a few weeks ago. All right, here it is, ready for planting. So thankful for my niece who helped me haul all the dirt over here. We used my gorilla cart, and I love this thing. It can hold up to 600 pounds. It's got the nice big tires so it won't get hung up on things, and it's got a little dump truck action where you can pull this lever right here and boop, pop it up, and then it can go right out this slanted end. And that's what we did. We just drove it right up here to the shorter side, dumped the dirt in, and then we used my little 2-gallon buckets from Ace and did some dirt around the edges. So I'm going to plant some of my winter sown poppies that are looking poppin'. I'm going to put those, I think, along with some other things that are already up and ready to plant from my winter sowing, because this bed is a little smaller than I originally wanted for cut flowers, but whoo-hee, am I glad I didn't go bigger. This was a lot of work. This was a fairly inexpensive project because I did it all myself. It was really just some 1x boards. I used 1x6s and some leftover 2x2s. Everything is pressure treated ground contact. There are 2 different kinds of pressure treated wood. I made sure to get the ground contact because I did set it right on the ground. I put cardboard, leftover boxes from moving underneath of the dirt, and then we just piled it with some, I think the place I got the dirt from is the same place I got some mulch, and they called it, I think, a Garden Magic soil. So it does have a little bit of sand because of how our dirt is here in central Ohio, as well as some compost. It's just a good mix for having in a bed like this. I also, if you'll notice, the dirt around here is a little bit darker brown. In the bed right now, it almost has a grayish tone. That's because I also took some biotone, and I have a big bag of it, so it looks a little different in this size of a bag, but we just sprinkled some of that on top, kind of zhuzhed it around. I didn't want it to go too deep right now, because as I'm planting things, it will get worked down in where the roots will be, because this is great. It's a starter fertilizer. It's all natural. It will help promote root growth and give the plants that I'm going to put in here a really, really good start. And even though it's before our typical first frost date, I am going to go ahead and put my ranunculus that are ready out here, as well as, like I said, some things from the winter sowing. Oh, hang on. Commercial break for the geese that were on my pond and have decided to get cranky about something. Anyways, so I will give you another update, or I'll post another video on what actually gets put in here soon. But here we are. This is a homemade raised bed ready for my new cut flower garden. Thanks for joining me here in Aunt Susan's garden.